Okay, great. A big welcome for anybody or any one of my friends over here. Today, you're going to gain some knowledge, and I hope that if you feel meaningful for this entire learning session, do share your friends. Okay, let me just go ahead before, of course, there's some disclaimer on this. The information I'm going to share now is based on my research. And do remember, if you want to buy or sell and make any decision on your property, kindly do your due diligence in your research before you proceed. Okay. Okay, talking about HDB property trend in Singapore at the moment. Okay, what is going on now in the HDB market? I think many of you have heard a lot of news about HDB. Of course, I'm not only going to share about HDB trend, I'm going to share about what is in for you as an owner and also a buyer. Okay, I will try to make it as interesting as I can. And very exciting, I think this year, 2022, is a very exciting year. And you know, the market trend is very hot. And just share a little bit experience, because recently I helped one of my clients to sell his HDB, 5-room flat, and bought a 3-room HDB itself. I can tell you there's a lot of demand in the market at the moment. And some units, you know, for my client wise, I actually have one virtual viewing, and the second day we do the physical viewing. On that day itself, we already have a few offer, and the case closed by one day physical viewing. And even the buying side, that time we went for viewing, we realized that supply is not many. There's many viewers in one viewing session. I can see there's like 4 or 5 groups of people coming. Even for my own seller, that time when we have a physical viewing, we have about 4 to 5 groups of people came in on the same day. And it's really very hot at this point of time. So congratulations for those who are HDB owners, because now is a very good time, because now is the all-time peak for HDB. So congrats for people who are owners of HDB. Of course, in the sense that because the peak, your price should be by right, should be the best price at the moment. So this is the most latest trend now. The HDB market now is at the peak itself. And as you know, last year we had double-digit growth, and this year we're going to increase. And you can take a look, the index have increased by about 5.2% for the first 2 quarters. And even the transaction-wise, overall in the HDB market, the transaction have dropped a little, but the price is still strong. Okay, this is a comparison about year by year. This is talking about this year, June itself. There's a transaction total number of HDB volume. Volume means the number, or per month. Monthly HDB volume is about 2139 transaction per month on June 2022. Okay, and last year, the same month, which is June itself, the transaction is 2,300. Okay, it shows that actually, if you actually look carefully and you can break it down into, this would be around this half, you can see that compared to last year and this year, the transaction number have actually dropped by a little bit, I can say that. And maybe due to because of cooling measures. Later I will share a little bit on what's happening in December time, when the cooling measure came in, maybe it affect this. And you'll be wondering why now itself, why now the price is been increasing so much, you know, it's at its peak. I can share a little bit on some of the reasons. And basically, number one, I think many of you know that there's a delay of the BTO. Means that last time we used to wait for about 3 years. Now they got to wait about 5, or some even 6, or even 7 years, I was told. So the time frame has really increased. BTO is very long waiting time. And some people who, you know, just got married, you know, they don't want to wait for so long. You know, they want to settle down. That's why all these groups, some groups of people who want to buy BTO have turned to change their mind and want to buy resale, because resale are more certain in terms of when they get their keys. Whereas BTO nowadays, you read the news, the delay has been like 6 months, 12 months. It's a bit uncertain in terms of if you have family planning, it's going to be very challenging. This is one of the reasons why that the demand have increased. Another reason is because due to the pandemic, that point of time, we have actually lack of manpower because many of the borders that point of time is closed, and we're not able to actually hire people, staff to work in the construction area at that point of time. And also another reason is because of the supply chain situation, where we actually most of the raw material is from overseas. So because of the supply chain of the closure of the borders, many of the raw materials, all these are delayed. That's why it affects the whole entire delay for this BTO and create a so-called a huge increase in demand for this HDB market, resale market especially. Yep. Okay, and there's a lot of millions-dollar resale flat. I mean, it's really crazy. Later, I'll show you some example because it's like, HDB can be millions-dollar. A lot of people are thinking that, hey, I thought HDB is for affordability, for people to stay, etc. But you'll be surprised. And, we have a lot of, and the numbers are actually increasing. If you look carefully at the numbers itself, based on this year, 2022, this is January, we have 27 units that transact millions above 1 million. Okay, so $1 million. So even for recently, I did a research. Last month we actually have 33. June we have 31. So it's been like, if you look at the numbers itself, by this year 27, 29, 27, 22, the numbers are getting, higher and higher. I look at it this way. So it shows that there's a lot of strong demand in HDB resale market. Some rich people, they actually come into resale market. It could be, maybe you ask me, who are they? Who are those people who are buying this $1 million HDB? It could be many factors. One of the group, I believe it could be those people who actually retiring. Maybe they actually own a very, actually I did have encountered client, they actually own landed property. They sold their landed because they are, they're already quite old and they don't want to go upstairs, downstairs, inconvenient. So they right-size the property to a HDB bigger house, maybe a 5-room flat. And that's why the demand came in. And even en-bloc buyers, they being en-bloc, maybe the condominium being en-bloc, and they need to actually find a new house. So they actually come into the HDB market to buy. There's a few groups of people are like that. This is some of a few possible people who actually came in to the HDB market itself. Hope that the sharing until now is good and interesting. Give me a thumbs up if it is interesting, and do share with your friends. If you really have friends and family members who are looking into HDB, planning on HDB, I will appreciate you to share with them, because this is something that they will feel very beneficial for them. Yep. Okay, let me just continue. Okay, now I'm going to another way of where is the $1 million property located? Okay, I think it's very logical that, even in general, in property, I think overall, it's a very general logic that usually location. Where property located in the central area, like Tiong Bahru, those right here, those Queenstown area, more centralized, near to the city area, were always actually able to ask for a premium price. So that's why the highest transaction that's happening for the $1 million HDB is central area, followed by Bishan, Queenstown. The top 3 will be central area, Bishan, and Queenstown. So congrats if you're actually staying there, or even you stay in Toa Payoh or Bukit Merah, congrats to you, because there's million transaction means it will help you to push up your price. Okay, that's a good news for you. And these are some of the transaction that's really transacted already. At the point of research, okay, that is the most expensive, but I think there's even more expensive one that's transacted recently only. These are some of the few examples that is going on now. Okay, the central area, Bishan, Queenstown area as well. And HDB been increasing for the last 24 straight months. Actually, you can say 23 or 26 because that was in June. Now already August, so it's been increasing for almost 2 years. I look at it, and also there's a million transaction that's located in Yishun itself, right? Surprisingly, Yishun, and also Tiong Bahru. Wow, this is a very this is a news that very shocked many people, and I myself also was very shocked, because The COV that's being paid for this Tiong Bahru house is 158,000. Wow, that's a lot of money. And COV means cash over valuation, means they are really to pay cash for this amount. And the transaction price is 1.158 million. Wow, that's very, I mean, it's a lot of money. Don't you agree with me? And this is even the recent one that's happening, or just a few days back. I just did a research today to update myself. This happened 3 days ago. The news came out in China News Asia, saying that there's one unit in Queenstown Sky Terrace in Dawson. Wow, 1.418 million in Queenstown. Wow, I mean, congratulations, people who stay in Dawson. Okay, because the price really pushed up all the way for a 5-room flat. It's almost like I mean, it's like a private pricing, private condominium pricing itself. Yeah. Okay, great. So now we understand about the HDB trend, that we know that now is very, very high at its peak. And we understand there's many $1 million transaction is going on. And also there's people willing to pay high COV. Of course, if you ask me, is it that everybody willing to pay 100 over 1,000? I can tell you, say it's no, not many. This is like just one out of all the transaction people paying 100 over 1,000 COV, cash over valuation. Okay, but now there's of course, now there's cash over valuation that's going on. Seller is expecting higher, of course, and it will not be so extreme to 100 over 1,000, which is very rare, unless the house is really super nice, super prime, or really very good renovation. Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to zoom in into the in this area. Before I zoom in, I want to share with you something. What is really going on between last year and this year? If you actually follow me, which is last year, you know that last year HDB pricing has been increasing, and now it's still increasing. Just now the news already said it's been increasing for 24 months. That one is June, so it's really increased 25 months, July, August, around there. So what is the difference between 2021 pricing and 2022 pricing? Okay, it seems like it's just a year. I want to show you something that is very something that's very interesting, and you'll be quite shocked to see that, wow, there's so big difference. Okay, before I share you this, I would like to share something that with my client. Okay, I will not tell you exactly how much is the amount, but I just give you an estimation. Okay, recently actually I helped my client to sell the HDB, and this client, a particular client of mine, actually I met them last year, June 2021. Yep. At that point of time when I met them, they actually have a huge negative sales, more than 60 over 1,000. Okay, there's a huge negative sales that is very painful. Imagine they bought the house and you need to have negative sales, and it's very painful. That's why at that point of time they did not actually make any move. But after a year, around June also, a few months back, actually I helped them to reassess, review their property, and realize that from negative sales of 60 over 1,000 now to a positive of 60,000 plus. Can you imagine? The difference is about more than 140,000 differences. Just share with you. It's really a huge difference. You know, sometimes the chart tell you say it's like increasing, but really exactly how much is really a question mark. You know, in terms of percentage, we know that, oh, last year we have a double-digit growth. Okay, this year another 5 point something%. You know, sometimes we can't see by the percentage, but when I tell you about the numbers, you'll be surprised. It can come up with 100 over $1,000. It can actually bring from a negative sales to a positive sales. So at this point, I think those people, you know, if your house, if you're aware that you're having a negative sales for the last few years, I think it's a good time for you to review, because this is a very real example, and it's going on. It shows that there's a high possibility that your negative sales can be positive. So it's good to review again. You may able to, you know, get some money out of your house now instead of negative sales. Okay, I actually randomly pick a few property. Of course, some higher, some lower. You know, it really depends. But I want to show you really the difference in terms of last year and this year. Is it really many people, there's really the price jump? Is it really so much, or it's just a graph itself? Okay, randomly I choose a few places lah. Okay, for example, this Yishun Central Block 303. You can take a look at this chart itself. Okay. Okay, can you see? Okay, if you look at this itself, this is the transacted data from HDB. This is the most recent transaction. Okay, what I'm comparing is that I want to compare last year 2021 and this year 2022. What is the price difference? Okay, what I'm going to, for this few example, I'm going to show you how actually I generate and show you the comparison. I always believe in apple-to-apple comparison in the sense that number one, I will compare based on room type. Number two, I'll base on the size. Number three, I'll base on the floor range. When I talk about floor range, I'm talking about, for example, for this case, you look at the highlight red and the blue is range from level 4 to level 6. So this is called the floor range. I also, of course, will compare based on year, last year 2021 and this year 2022. I only will base on year. I didn't base on month because it can be very difficult to compare, year exactly 1 year, because transactions sometimes have, sometimes don't have. So it's very difficult to really find a transaction that exactly 1 year got this transaction, same size and same level. Agree with me? So the easiest and more easy to compare is based on size, number one, 4 room. Based on size, based on height, based on the level. Okay, based on the year. So in 2022, there's a transaction in May for this house is this is this year, 2022, this is this year. Last year, 2021, there's a transaction of 400,000. This year, exactly the same model, same size, same rate of floor range is transacted at 485K. It shows that the price have increased for this particular block itself. The price have increased by 85,000. Okay, good. Next. This 978D Bangkok Crescent. Okay, this is another example, a random check example. Okay, and of course you can view the age of the house if you want. Maybe you can select, this 65 years old. 65 years old means not 65 years old. The least left 65, not 65 years old. So only left 65. Okay, this one left 80. Okay, this one left 80 is a 978D Bangkok Crescent. Okay, so same thing as I said, apple to apple, size, same level range. Okay, the year, last year, this year. Last year is 415, this year is 468. So it's about almost 50K more. Okay, so there's an increase. Wow, 50,000 is quite a good number. Continue, even far away like 168 Bukit Batok West, even all the way. This is left 61 years. And you can take a look. Okay, I will just go into the year, will be easier. I will not. Okay, 2022. The price is 260K to 325K. So the price have increased about 65K. Wow, that's quite a good difference, last year and this year. Okay. Okay, let's continue. What about Pasir Ris in the east? Let's take a look. This only remains 91 years long. Okay. This itself last year is 667. This year is 750. So there's an increase about 70K. Wow, congrats. Okay. So this few example, we can actually conclude, of course, it doesn't apply to every estate, of course. I just randomly choose. It shows that overall the price increased, and the increase is really quite good in the sense that it's not like 5,000 increase. Okay, look, 60 over 50 over 1,000 and 80 over 1,000. Wow. I also encountered 100 over 1,000 increase as well. I mean, okay. Okay, this is showing you about current supply in the sense that the MOP. MOP means it's minimum occupation period. In Singapore, when you buy a HDB, you need to actually stay for 5 years, then you can sell. This year, we have quite a high number of supply coming in, 31,325. Okay, And the supply is good in the sense that there's high supply. Hopefully it will help to cool a little bit of the HDB. And all these people usually, when they reach 5 years, some of them will relook their house and they may want to sell, or they want to upgrade or right size. Yeah. And a lot of the MOP means meaning occupation period, they can have a very good cash proceed ranging from 100 over 1,000 to even 400 over 1,000 cash proceed, means cash profit. I just share with you. Yeah. Okay. So that's why the price is at its peak at this moment in HDB. Good. Let's continue. Will HDB prices going to continue to increase forever? What do you think? If you anything, can just put it down. What do you think that? Will you think that HDB going to continue to increase and increase, increase and increase? Will you think that so? Yes or no? Okay, let's do some so-called research. Okay. If you can remember the last sharing that I had last time about this, there's something that's happening in 2013, where actually the price stagnant for the past 5 to 6 years, 2013 all the way to 2019, the price then start to increase. Between 2013, the price been stagnant for quite long. You see the price been stagnant for quite long before it, from 2019, then it will slowly increase. Yeah, why this thing happened? I'm not sure if you can remember. There's a few factors that is going on at that point of time. One is the MSR. MSR means is mortgage servicing ratio. Means that you only can use 30% of your salary to pay for your monthly installment. This is one thing that's happening that time the government come in for this measure. Another one is that last time you can actually loan up to 30 years. They actually reduce it to 25 years. And lastly, I think the more drastic is the PR. They got to stay at least, to be a PR for 3 years before they can buy any resale property. Mainly because, these are the three main measures that came in 2013, had actually impacted the HDB market. That's why it's been stagnant for the past 5, 6 years. Imagine you bought the HDB in 2013, you've been holding on for so long, finally the price have increased. Can you imagine you've been waiting for very, very long, finally you can actually upgrade or resize your house. So cooling, that's the thing that's happening, the cooling measures that came in. And even the last year cooling measure, you can remember, because of the double-digit growth that I mentioned to you, actually 12.7% has increased. That's why government came in for the cooling measure. But if you actually look carefully at the cooling, actually is not only because of HDB, because private sector have increased by 10.6%. Also, it's a double-digit growth. That's why government came in to cool the market. And I want to go through all these things because if you are keen, you can. I have one sharing last time on the Facebook Live on the cooling measure. What's the impact? Let me know if you're keen. I can let you know the link. And the most important thing what I want to show you, because I want to show you what is the impact the cooling measures onto the HDB. Okay, mainly is this one. Mainly is this one. This is called loan to value. Last time when you take a HDB loan, you can loan to up to 90%. Because of the new cooling measures, you only can loan up to 85%. I can say that this time the cooling measure is mainly targeting the private sector, but not too much on the HDB sector. And if you ask me, I can say that now already I mentioned that HDB price index have increased over the first 2 quarters about 5.something%, right? I remember just now I mentioned. If this year we're going to reach a double-digit growth again, if there's a chance that, who knows, government may come in again. There's a possibility. Why is it so? Because HDB is for who? It's for Singaporean and it's for PR, it's for affordability living. That's why a lot of people been talking about, wow, now become very unaffordable to buy a HDB. So measures are coming to cool the market. And it seems that it did helps to the market. If you remember the transaction number I show you, the transaction number have dropped a little, means they have a little bit impact, but the price still going very strong. I can look at it at this point because it's been still increasing after the cooling measure, which is on the December that's happened. Okay. Hope that till to now all are well and you're gaining something about it. If you really benefit and you feel that you learned something, please give me a thumbs up, share with your friends and family. And I really appreciate that because I really also need some motivation. You know, preparing all this also needs some efforts. Most of this research work, just share with you, I did it myself. Of course, I'll get it from different sources. Okay, most important, I think today is to understand what's in me as a HDB owner. Owners. Okay, as a HDB owners itself, I always believe that there's different, okay, if you can remember that I always emphasize on always have an end in mind. You must ask yourself what you want to achieve end of the day. Okay, so now number one, you need to know that now the market is at a peak, means that it's a seller market. Okay, what are the options that you have? I'm not here to tell you what to do. I only can tell you in general, I mean, logically, what are the things that people can consider to do, but end of the day is you yourself will need, is a case by case basis. It always depends on everybody planning, you know, it's not one size fits all. In general, I look at it if like, you know, like for example, my client, I told you the example, they actually own a 5-room flat and they are coming 55. The reason why they want to sell is because they want to right size their property. They want to right size a 5-room to a 3-room flat. Okay. Why is it so? Because, you know, when you right size it, you're able to get some cash out, or you can able to have more cash flow or more CPF end of the day. And you don't need such a big house end of the day. You know, let's say, for example, only you and your wife or you and your husband, only 2 of you, and your children really grow up. So you may not need so big space. One reason it can be right size. This is one thing of right size. Another right size in talking about, if I think that if you really have a family and you have small children at this point in time, your children are still small and you're living in maybe a 3-room flat, for example, and you have maybe 2 children, for example. And end of the day, you know that, you know, when they grow out, they need to have the room of themselves. One day you need to upgrade to a 5-room flat. This will happen now or future. I think if you are in this kind of situation now, I think you can seriously look into whether is it a good time, are you comfortable to right size it to upgrade to a 5-room now? Why is it so? Because when you actually right size at the peak market, when you can able to sell higher price, it means that you're able to get a bigger amount of cash after selling. And when if you have this bigger amount of cash, you can actually use it for your next house for renovation, or you can use it for your own use as well. Okay, this is a right size for the HDB. Of course, there's some situation where, you know, you already stay in a 5-room flat, for example, or you have a 4-room flat, you feel that, hey, there's nothing that you know, no reason for you to sell, for example. Okay. But I look at it, you have an option in the sense that now you're sitting down on a very good profit. You can choose to either stay put, means do nothing about it. It's very individual. Or you can actually plan to actually maybe sell or upgrade to another better location, that your most preferred location. Okay, why is it so? Because okay, for HDB is a little bit different from private. When you actually earn a profit from the house, you can't get out the profit unless you sell the house. Okay, once you sell the house, you have a sum of money. Okay, and this sum of money allow you to use it for many things. You can use for your children education. You can use for your future. You want to maybe start out a business, or you can use it for other things like other investment. It's really up to you what you want to use this money that you have. But the key thing is that if you're able to do it now, you're able to get a very good profit because the market is at your way. Okay, because now it's really a very individual planning as well. So as I said, this is just a general thing. But if you choose to say to continue to hold on, and what is the consequences and what is happening if you just say, Jane, I just want to maybe don't do anything about it at this point of time. Okay, something that will happen to you that some people may not know is this thing called the accrued interest. This is only happen when you use your CPF to make payment for your house. Let's say, for example, you use up 200,000 for your house for the CPF into this house. And when you actually withdraw your CPF amount out to pay for this property, when you sell your house, you got to return back this CPF amount to your own account. And you need to remember, you need to return plus a 2.5% interest. Yeah. The reason is because they say that, because if you didn't touch this money, you're supposed to get a 2.5% from CPF. Since you touch this money, you got to return back because it's your retirement fund. So when you sell it away, you got to return back the 2.5% interest, and this compound yearly. Okay, so based on, let's say, for example, you hold it for the next 5 years, means in other words, your cash money that you get back from your house will be reduced by about 26,000. That's the thing that I'm not sure, some of you may know, some maybe you don't know. So it means that your cash amount will be lower and you get less cash lah. So it depends what you want in life. Or if you are someone who really want to enjoy your very moment of your life now, I think it's good to do some proper planning now. If you are someone who don't mind wait until you are 55, because end of the day, and 55, if by then you want to sell your house, you got to pay back the accrued interest, and all these things will go to your CPF. When you're 55, you meet the minimum sum, then you can actually withdraw certain money out, right? So it really depends on what you want in your life. I cannot decide for you. I can share with you what's the difference between now and future. Okay. And what is for me now as a HDB buyer? Of course, as a HDB buyer itself, I look at it now is as a peak, means it's at a high price. So it's very individual. As I say, this is a general thing. So it really depends of individual. And if you are someone who really needs a house urgently, no place to stay, of course, no choice, you got to buy now, no matter what the price is, correct? Of course, most important thing, I look at it as a buyer, I think is as long as your finance. I think the most important thing as a buyer is your finance. If you feel that now you really need a place, really no choice, you got to buy. Yes, you got to check your finance, whether are you comfortable to buy the installment, is it okay for you? But if you're someone who are not, have a house to stay, like your parents' place, for example, or somewhere else, of course, now it may not be a good time because the price is really at its peak. But you may be asking, then when the HDB price is going to drop? This is a question mark, really. But based on research, the price may drop, as I mentioned to you. There's a possibility the price may drop is only a few things happen. My observation is number one, the cooling measure again come in when government hit hard in the cooling measure. Because this time around, remember I told you December cooling measure, it's really 100. I can say 99% is focused in private property They only adjust the 85% maximum load, unless the government actually came in to actually make it more drastic in the cooling measure, hit the HDB market, then the price may drop. This is one thing. And it can be also challenging because now the demand is still very strong because of the delay of construction. Another thing can happen is that only when all the construction is built up, which takes another, I don't know how many years, can be 5 years or it can be longer, or there's more supply coming in, or when they're able to manage the supply at that point in time, maybe the price may go down a little. So it's very difficult to really gauge. It's really end of the day, you need to ask yourself why you want to buy. And is it worth to buy at this moment of time? Or maybe if you are not urgent, try to buy at the market value or not too much of cash over valuation so that you don't need to overstretch yourself as well. Okay. So take action in the sense that I'm not trying to ask you to sell or buy. Take action in the sense that I want you all to actually take this opportunity to relook or review your current property if you are the property owner, and see whether is it worth, what's the, after you know your property pricing, property value, then how much you will get back if you actually choose to sell or stay put, and what is the next action you want to take. Okay, take action is to plan, and for buyer side, of course, take action is to plan. You need to plan whether should I mean, what as I mentioned to you, the most important is your finance, you know. And if your finance is okay, of course, try not to buy something that's too way above, too expensive. Something that's reasonable, I think, will be good. Because no matter how over years and over years, if you look at the trend, property price will still increase over time. When will it drop? We really don't know. We don't have a crystal ball. And now I don't know what happened in the future, but what I know is that now the price is at its peak itself. Yeah. If you are really seriously to look into your property in terms of planning, what can you do, or what's your options that you have, there's no obligation for you to contact me, because I can assist you. I've been in this line full time for the past, I think, about 9 years. Really, time really flies. Since 2013, I've been full time property consultant for many years. I mean, not say super long years lah. I think 2013 to now, I also don't know the count. It's close to 9 years, I guess. Yeah, around there. So I've been helping a lot of my clients to work out in the sense of planning, probably planning in the sense that step-by-step planning, not buy, sell, to plan in the sense that how I do is that what I really do for my clients is that actually I follow a framework called the EAR framework that actually I created over these years of my career. Okay, first of all, I will actually evaluate your current situation about the reason why you want to buy or why you want to sell. From there, if you are really evaluate your current situation, know why, the reason why first, then we'll go to analyze. We'll need to analyze means to know about your finances, whether it's okay or not okay, and then to see whether what are the options that you have. Then from there, then we'll review whether when will be time to take a look and review, to have a yearly review to see what happened to your property. Many of the time, a lot of people did not review and they lose out a lot of opportunity. So this is a framework that actually I set up and created and helped many of my clients, and it's a proven framework. And if you ask me when is a good time to sell or when is a good time to buy, I always believe that as long as you are prepared, then it's a good time. I look at it. Because when time comes, you are not prepared, you also can't do anything. And you need to also live within your means. That's also very important. So, yeah. Okay, hope that so far the sharing is quite good. And it's been like almost 45 minutes. That's great. I try not to drag too long because I realize that I tend to talk a lot and share a lot, can drag for 1 hour plus. So I think it's good that I try to keep it as maybe within half an hour, not a little bit more, so still okay. And remember, always begin with an end in mind. Whenever you do anything, ask yourself why I want to buy, why I want to sell, what I want to achieve end of the day. This is, I think, is very important. It's not following the flow, people sell, you sell, people buy, you buy. Don't follow blindly, and do your research, do your homework, and see, is it practical for you to do it now or should you do it later? Okay, thank you very much, and I hope that today's sharing is meaningful for all of you. Okay, and I really appreciate if you feel it's good, you like this, and you really gain something after listening to me for the past almost 45 minutes. Do give me a thumbs up. I need some support, and also I really appreciate you can actually pass this video to your friends or relatives who really need help and need some knowledge about what is going on in the market before they make any move. And especially property is one of the most expensive item that we bought. Our money, our hard-earned money is all inside. So remember to plan properly, and okay, and no obligation. And if you actually have any inquiry or wanting to know more about how to plan, feel free to look for me. And thank you very much, and take care, and have a good weekend tomorrow. Bye.